Good morning, everyone, and happy Wednesday. We are going to get started in just a minute. I just want to make sure everything is working, up and running. You guys can hear me, you guys can see me. So I'm just going to log into my phone quickly, make sure everything is good. So let's give it a minute. There's a little bit of lag here. What's the thing with these lives? So unpredictable. All right, I'm going to start in just a minute. If you can hear me and if you can see me, please drop a yes in the chat. Last thing I want to do is do this live and not actually be live. So let's make sure everything is working, everything is good before we start. All right, there you go. I got my first message. That means someone can see me. How are you guys doing, by the way? Before we start, I would love to know where you are from. So if you can, please go ahead and drop your name and also let me know where you're from. What part of the world are you from? It's always interesting to see where these lives are reaching and who I am getting in front of. So, okay. All right, you guys. Everything looks like it's working now, but too close to the camera. You guys can hear me. Okay, there you go. Let me move back a little bit. Hopefully that's a little bit better. Is that better? Okay, looks much, much better. So let's get started, you guys. I'm super excited today because I have so many exciting news for you guys, and we're going to be doing something very interactive, something very different. So I've never done one of these in a long time, and I think you guys are really, really going to enjoy it. So before, again, we begin, please let me know, where are you from? So we have people here from India, we have San Antonio, Texas, we have Pakistan, New York. I was actually in New York last weekend? Yeah, last weekend. We did all the touristy things. So it was a lot of fun. Where else? Los Angeles. Arfan from Los Angeles. Hi, Arfan. We have Dallas, Texas in the house. Awesome. Colombia. Where else? New York. Got lots of people from New York. Okay, you guys. Tennessee. Alfia. Hey, Alfia. I'm a little bit nervous. I'm going to be honest, Alfia. Calgary, Alberta. Okay, you guys, let's get started because there's a lot that I want to do today, and I feel like you guys are gonna love this. And most of my lives are usually I'm teaching you something. So I want to make this a little bit different. I want to make this a little bit more fun. And I have an interactive exercise for you guys to do with me as we continue and as we do some stuff together. Okay. So let's start on what's your speaking style. So today, basically, this live is going to be to tell you guys and show you guys examples of the fact that you are not a bad speaker. Because so many of my clients say this to me, Maria, I'm not a natural speaker. Maria, why can't I sound like that extroverted person in the room? Why is it that I get up in front of a stage or in front of a large audience and I freak out, whereas everyone else that I look at, they're doing amazing. It's like they're naturally born with it. Again, that word natural. Now, I'm here to tell you, nobody is a natural speaker. Nobody is a great natural public speaker. It's something that's actually learned through the exposure that you've had in your life. Okay. So I want you to get that out of your head. And the great news with that is that means that whoever you are, wherever you're from, whatever your background is, you can learn to speak really, really well. Now, here's the thing also. When I say really well, there isn't just a one size fits all. Not everyone is the same type of speaker. By the way, why don't you let me know in the chat box who you think is a great speaker? Give me some examples of people that you have seen that you feel like, oh my gosh, I love the speaker. Even if you don't know why, you don't have to know why. Just tell me who that speaker is and tell me what you love about that speaker. Hi from Toronto, Nigeria. So let me know. Let me give you guys an example of someone I absolutely love and admire. I love Barack Obama. I love his speaking style. I feel like he's just so charismatic. It doesn't matter what he's talking about. It just seems like he draws an audience in. So that's one of the speakers I absolutely love. Let me know who some of your favorite speakers are. Simon Sinek. Okay, we're going to be talking about Simon Sinek a lot today. Shah Rukh Khan. Yes. Oh, if charisma was a person, it would be Shah Rukh Khan. Totally understand where you're coming from with that one. Narendra Modi, Obama, Mr. Trump. Okay, okay. Who else? Anyone else? I hear my heartbeat when I come on stage. So do not worry about that. We're going to talk about it. JD Vance. You know what, you guys? JD Vance is definitely standing out. So I think that's someone that's also really good. +1 for Obama. Perfect. All right. So why am I asking you this? You guys have named so many different types of speakers right now. Are any of them similar? Are any of them the same? No. What you're going to notice is that each one of these guys, each one of these people have a completely different speaking style. And the reason why I emphasize this is because that is what makes someone a great speaker, their own unique speaking style. Now, although there are so many different speaking styles out there, there's a couple that I'm going to focus on today. And I actually have a very interactive exercise for you guys to do so that you can find out what your speaking style is. So if you're interested in knowing what your speaking style is and you want to find out today, right now, within the next 5 minutes, what your speaking style is, then say yes in the chat box and I'm going to tell you exactly how to do that. Okay. So remember, like I said, there's a lot of different speaking styles, but we are going to focus on just 5. But if you want to know your speaking style, drop a yes, and I'm going to tell you exactly how you can do that. Okay. I'm also going to share my screen with you so that we can start and look at a couple of things here. All right. So say yes. Again, I'm going to give you guys a second. I think there's like a little bit of a lag. There you go. Yes, 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 yes. Getting lots of yeses here. Awesome. I'm going to show you guys exactly how you're going to do that today. Let me share my screen with you and we're going to get right into it. So hopefully you guys can see my screen here. Yep, you should be able to. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit because I know some of you guys might be on your phones. So you should see on my screen right now something that says, what's your speaking style? So before we dive in and we talk about everything in detail, I want you guys to go ahead and go to www.voicesthatlead.net. This is a quiz, okay? It's a quiz to help you determine what your speaking style is. So I want you to do this right now. Figure out what your speaking style is. It takes only about, some people, honestly, I've seen complete this in 2 minutes. So if you're really quick, you can do this in 2 minutes, or on average, it takes about 5 minutes. So as I'm going through the different speaking styles, I do want you to know what yours is. So go to www.voicesthatlead.net, complete the quiz to help you determine what your speaking style is. When you complete the quiz, you will get an email from me, something like this, that will say, hey, great job. You completed your exercise. It's going to tell you exactly the type of speaker you are. By the way, I am an analytical speaker, and you're going to be able to see the full profile. Okay. When you click on the full profile, it's going to walk you through exactly what type of speaker you are. So like I said, I am an analytical speaker. So who else is an analytical speaker? Steve Jobs. So here's something I want to read for you. In 2007, Steve Jobs stood on stage to introduce the iPhone, not with a laundry list of specs, but with one unforgettable phrase: a phone, an iPod, and an internet communicator. So the great thing about Steve Jobs is that he has so many different strengths. And if you're an analytical speaker, you'll be able to relate with me. So when you do the quiz, if you scroll down, you're going to see your strengths. You're going to see the challenges that you face as a speaker. And it's so important to know your style because that's how you're going to draw in an audience. That's how you're going to amplify your voice. You're also going to see your potential. So the potential that you have using the style of speaking you already possess. So we're not changing anything here. We're already using what you have to make it better. Then you're also going to get steps on exactly what you need to do to make sure that your voice gets heard in the workplace, in presentations. Maybe you're doing interviews. You want to make sure you're using this for interviews. And of course, presentations is the biggest one. This is where you'll really be able to utilize your own speaking style. Okay, so you're going to get a step-by-step on what you need to do. For example, humanize your data. As an analytical speaker, we get so much into the details that we forget hey, I'm just a person. Everyone else is human here. Where's that humanistic element to it? So you're going to get a lot of good examples of what to do to become an even better speaker. Okay. Now, one more thing, once you do the quiz, by the way, I hope you guys have already started the quiz. I'm giving you guys a few minutes and then we're going to get into the details of what each one means. And we're going to get into the details of how you can amplify your voice. So I'm going to cover that with you today on this call. So make sure you're doing the quiz. Make sure you are on voicesthatlead.net and you should be halfway done your quiz by now. You guys, does not take more than 5 minutes. Okay. Also, once you complete the quiz, you are going to get an absolutely free training from me on impromptu speaking, how to speak on the spot with structure. So this is great for you if you feel like you get put on the spot a lot and you're very smart, you know what to say, but because you got put on the spot, you've totally freaked out and now you don't even know who you are anymore. I don't know about you guys, but that happens to me a lot, especially when I used to interview and someone would ask me, what's your name? I was like, or what do you do? I'm like, I forgot. Like, I don't know who I am. I know this happens a lot. It also happens a lot during presentations. So if you're doing like a presentation and people ask you a question, maybe it's a curveball, maybe you know the answer, but the fact that they asked you in front of 100 people, now you're like, let me see, what was that, right? So this is going to teach you exactly how you can structure your approach in a way that makes you sound so confident. Okay, so that's a free training you're going to get just for doing the quiz. Okay, so I want you guys to, again, do the quiz. What's your speaking style? Voicesthatlead.net. Come back and tell me what your speaking style is. And I'm going to tell you right now on this call what to do about it. Okay, how to amplify it, how to make it better, and how to use it in the corporate world so that you too can be the Obamas of the world. You too can be the Simon Sineks of the world. Okay. Now let's get into it. Okay, let's get into the lesson. And hopefully by now, some of you guys have completed the quiz. And again, please let me know in the chat box which speaker style you got. Now, although there are, like I said, a lot of different speaking styles, we will focus on the primary 5 today. Okay. So here's what I want to start off by saying. Effective public speaking is not about what you say, but how you say it. The unique style you develop can help you stand out, connect with your audience. It helps you build momentum. It helps your audience connect with you, and it makes it more fun. I don't know about you, but I don't want to get up there and feel like, oh, why did I sign up for this? Something that a lot of my clients tell me is that they regret that they signed up for that speaking engagement, or they regret being in that room of extroverts because they know someone else is going to come in, someone else is going to shine, and they will feel invisible and wonder, why am I even here? So what if I told you that you don't need to change your speaking style? You can take your speaking style and amplify it, okay? So having and knowing what your unique speaking style is by doing the quiz is going to help you have more fun when you're speaking. It's going to take off that stress. It's going to get rid of that anxiety, because how many of you guys feel anxiety, right? How many of you feel anxiety in there? Tell me, because I know I did when I was in the corporate world. Anytime I knew I had a presentation, I had so much anxiety. Let me tell you guys a quick story. So I was supposed to speak in front of director, C-suite, and I had like a presentation with my boss. She chose me. God, I don't know why, because she knew I hated public speaking. She chose me, and being like the stress ball that I am, I was going up the stairs and I decided, okay, a little bit of coffee would help. It'll give me some more energy. So I'm like walking up the stairs with my laptop that had all my slides in it, and I'm running up the stairs. And guess what? I dropped the coffee on myself right before the presentation. So when I did that, I was like, great, that just added even more stress. Now I always imagine, like, what if I was the type of person that just went into that meeting and I was like, you know what? I just need to be myself. I don't need to pretend to be somebody else, right? So that feeling in itself, where you just show up, you're calm, you're relaxed, you've got it, you know what you're doing, is so powerful, because your mind is going to be at ease and you're not going to be wondering, what do I do? How do I do this? What if I say something embarrassing? What if they judge me? What if I fail? What if they look at me as a failure? Or what if they think, what is this person even doing here? Right? Those are the thoughts that run through your head, and it's horrible. But what if I knew my speaking style and I just worked on it? And that's why, again, I created this quiz for you guys. It's absolutely free, by the way, voicesthatlead.net. So once I discovered my speaking style, which by the way, for me, it's the analytical speaker, I figured out finally what works for me and what does not work for me. Okay, so let's look at some of the speaking styles. All right, let's get into it. By the way, if you have not already finished the quiz, voicesthatlead.net, and let me know in the chat box which style of speaking you got. Okay, so let's get into it. Now, what is a speaking style? In case anyone is wondering, a speaking style is the combination of verbal and non-verbal elements that characterize how you communicate. It's not just what you say, it's how you say it, it's your body language, it's a whole package. Okay. So once you master these, you can craft a speaking style that's both effective and unique to you. And this is what all the great speakers out there do. They don't pretend to be somebody else. They take what they have and they magnify it. Let's get into some of the examples. By the way, okay, so Sabina, I'm seeing Sabina's an analytical speaker. Amin is a charismatic speaker. Great job. Thoughtful speaker. We have Philly, who is a thoughtful speaker. Happy to hear that, you guys. Again, do the quiz. You guys are going to be shocked sometimes. I think I've had some people say this was so insightful. And by the way, I've just launched this, so it's still brand new. So you guys are going to be some of the first people doing the quiz. I'd also love your feedback on it. Let's get into the different types of speaking styles, okay? Do we have any charismatic speakers here yet? Yes. Okay, how many of you guys are charismatic speakers? There you go. We have one person so far who is a charismatic speaker. Let's go over what a charismatic speaker is, okay? A charismatic speaker is, think Barack Obama. You know, right? Barack Obama, Shah Rukh Khan, as some of you guys were mentioning. Someone that is a charismatic speaker has very, very high energy and enthusiasm. So they come into that room and the energy of the room completely changes. They are also the type of people that tell a lot of stories. By the way, storytelling is a great, great way of connecting with your audience. This is also the type of person that engages a lot. So if you look at Barack Obama, if you ever watch some of his speeches, especially the speech in Boston that he did that people say won him the elections, please go and analyze that speech. Because what happens during this time is he got up on stage, he addresses everybody. Of course, it's a room full of thousands and thousands of people. So something he does really good is he engages with everybody in the room without them even realizing it. Now, when I say engagement, there's different forms of engagement. Eye contact is engagement. So he's looking at everybody. Another form of engagement is asking questions. Even though there's 1,000 people in the room, you can still ask questions to say, raise your hand if, for example. Okay, so he does that really, really well. Another thing that he does, facial expressions and gestures. When have you not seen Barack Obama smiling? Unless, of course, there was a crisis going on. But other than that, when he's addressing an audience on a more happier occasion, you'll see that big smile on his face. If there's one thing that you charismatic speakers can do is you guys use great facial expressions. So you guys have that nice big smile. You have that energy about you that really moves people. So for example, another person who's very charismatic, Tony Robbins. He's a motivational speaker. I'm sure you all know who Tony Robbins is. Have you guys noticed the energy that he brings to stage? He gets on stage and he's like, oh my gosh, let's go. We're going to do this today. We're going to do that. By the way, I see that there's a lot of new people here. If you are new here, just want to remind you to do the voicesthatlead.net quiz. That's going to tell you what your speaking style is. And we're covering some of the speaking styles and what they mean right now. You are also going to get an email with all of like the details, but we're kind of doing like a broad overview right now. So make sure you go to voicesthatlead.net if you are just joining us and tell me exactly what your speaking style is in the chat box. Okay. Going back to Tony Robbins, high energy, strong use of storytelling. He always talks about his childhood, the struggles that he went through. And that's what makes people really fall in love with him. Okay. So if this is your speaking style, or if it's not, and it's something you want to adapt, it's okay to try to adapt a little bit of different speaking styles, then these are some of the things that you can do, okay? If you want to be a charismatic speaker, or if you got a charismatic speaker, you want to use your enthusiasm. That means amp up the energy a little bit every time you speak. Show your excitement for the topic, even if it's something very simple and basic. Show your excitement about it because you can literally, guys, you can literally change the energy of the room with the way that you speak. You can make people happy. You can make people stressed out. And if you're stressed out, your audience is going to be stressed out too. So smile, have that big smile, bring in that energy. That's already your superpower. So make sure you amplify it. Just turn it up a little. Think of it like a little knob, turn it up a little bit. Okay. You also want to use a lot of storytelling. So you want to share anecdotes, personal experiences, or scenarios that make the material really come to life. Because again, that's what you're great at already. But you want to make sure those stories, adding in those stories, is going to make people go, wow, this is an amazing speaker. I want to know more. By the way, people don't fall in love with what you say. It's how you say it that makes them fall in love with you. Okay. Last thing, as a charismatic speaker, you want to make sure that you engage with your audience, okay? So I'll give you guys an example of this. I'll ask you guys a question. How many of you here are afraid of public speaking? Tell me in the chat box. Say yes in the chat box if you are afraid of public speaking. So this is a way for me to get you guys to engage, to kind of understand you, to build a connection with my audience. Okay, so let me know in the chat box if you are afraid of public speaking. I have my phone open here, so let's see how many of you are. Olafia is saying, I'm envisioning Tony. Nice one. Analytical speaker. We got lots of analytical speakers, by the way. Yes. So I have Philly here saying yes. By the way, Philly, I think, Philly, you're in my community. So happy to see you here as well. James says yes. How many of you are afraid of public speaking? Let me know. I have the chat open right now. Tarun says no. Tarun, so happy for you that you're not afraid. It's honestly like that's a great achievement. Irfan says yes. Simi says yes. This is a great way to engage your audience. Okay. So here is your kind of breakdown on the charismatic speaker. So if you've done the quiz at voicesthatlead.net, you would have known by now if you're a charismatic speaker or if you're something else. So we got 4 more to go. Okay, let's do the other 4. And I'm very interested to see, by the way, I'm looking at the numbers and there is a mix. So I'm so excited that there's such a big variety of speakers. Because think of it this way, if we all sounded the same, if we all looked the same, if we all spoke the same, how would we ever stand out, right? And that's the whole point of this. You're doing this quiz so you know what makes you stand out, okay? By the way, I've had one of my clients do the quiz because he kept saying, you know, I'm trying to be funny, but it just turns out like nobody laughs at my jokes. And I was like, okay, well, you know what? Let's do your speaker style quiz and see what type of speaker you are. So he did the quiz and it turns out he's like the exact opposite of a humorous speaker. So he was more of an analytical speaker, and analytical speakers are not humorous. So I told him, do you feel like you're forcing, you know, that humor? And he felt like, yeah, I just thought that was a great way to get people to like me. So I told him, okay, you know what? Let's scratch that. Let's forget trying to get people to laugh. Let's focus on the value that you're bringing. So I gave him a lot of pointers. We did some calls together. He started incorporating some of the tips that I gave him. And then he went from being able to, like, he used to do presentations online because he hated face-to-face presentations, but he became so comfortable with speaking and he enjoyed it so much. He finally signed up for an in-person event. He did the in-person event. He sent me the recording and you'd be so surprised, but people were actually laughing and engaging because now he was being himself. So he wasn't even trying to make people laugh, but because he was being himself, he had a better connection. Those little jokes that he did drop here and there connected him so well with the audience. And he came back and told me, Maria, that was such a great feeling. And I want that feeling for you guys. I don't want you to be so afraid of public speaking because I promise you, once you get better at it, it is life-changing. Okay, sorry, got a little sidetracked there. Let's get back to the second type of speaker. So again, if you want to know your speaking style, voicesthatlead.net. It's a quiz that's going to tell you your speaking style. So now let's get into the conversational speaker, okay? Who is a conversational speaker? The conversational speaker is very casual, it's very relatable. The people that typically have this type of style are people that are like team leads, project managers, some directors. If you're a director, maybe you have this type of style. So this is the type of style that you want to have or you already have if you're already somebody that's very friendly. Okay, so if you do the quiz and this is what you get, you probably have been told you're friendly. This is the type of person that uses a lot of humor, not the analytical speaker like my client, but this is the type of person that would use humor because it's naturally in you. Guys, if you're funny, you're funny. Like that's how it is. If you're not funny, you're not funny. I'm not a funny person. I don't try to be funny because I know that's not my speaking style. So for conversational speakers, this comes a lot more natural to you. Being funny, humorous, whether it's dry humor, whether you like to tell dad jokes, whatever it is. By the way, how many of you got conversational speaker? Do say conversational speakers if that's the one that you got, since that's what we're covering right now. So the conversational speaker also is very informal. So this person uses a lot of informal language and expressions, but of course, don't use jargons. You don't want to get too comfortable. You're still in the workplace. You can still be conversational. You can still be relatable, friendly, and be professional. So remember that line. Frequent audience interaction. Conversational, it's like a conversation. So even if you're standing up in front of the whole board meeting speaking, you're still going back and forth. And the great thing with this type of speaker is people love to hear you speak because they think you're talking to a friend. They don't feel like they're talking to the CEO of a company or their team lead or their manager. So if you have this type of style, focus on it and make sure that you're amplifying this and adding more to it. I will tell you how else you can add this. A few examples: Oprah Winfrey. She's a conversational speaker. She has a TV show. She sits there, it's back and forth. Even though she's the one interviewing people, she's sitting there and she's making sure that people feel comfortable. People feel like they belong there. So that's really kind of your strong suit as a conversational speaker. She does use a lot of humor and a lot of empathy. So there's a lot more emotions involved with a conversational speaker. Another example is Bill Gates. The great thing, or probably the best thing that Bill Gates does, is he takes the most complex idea and he tones it down to a point that is so easy for anybody to understand. I feel like a 10-year-old can sit there, watch him speak, and understand exactly what he's saying, right? Because it's like you're just talking to your friend. So if you tell your friend what you do at work, you're not going to say it the same way that you would say it to someone you're interviewing with, right? So that's how you know you have a conversational speaking style. And of course, if you do the quiz, it's going to help you figure out if it is or not. So again, if this is the style that you have, you want to use more and more humor. That will keep your audience extremely engaged. You want to tell stories. Stories are always great, but you want to make sure your stories are more personal, relatable, and at the same time, you want to be informal but articulate. Remember, this is still the workplace. You still want to maintain that composure, and you still want to make sure that you're speaking to your colleagues as if you're a friend, but you're still in charge. Don't forget that part. Okay. All right. So that is the second type of speaker that we talked about, the conversational speaker. If you are just joining us, make sure you do the quiz, voicesthatlead.net. Okay. So let me know in the chat box which speaker you get. You guys with me so far? I want to make sure I haven't lost you guys. You guys are learning. If you're still with me, say yes. Yes in the chat box. And if you're learning a lot about different speaking styles, also say yes in the chat box. Let me check in with you guys before we move on to the next speaker, which is the analytical speaker. That's my speaking type. So let me see how you guys are doing before we continue. I have Aditya saying knowledge is important before speaking. Yes, it is. We have a lot of analytical. We have an authoritative speaker. Pavan, you're an authoritative speaker. Nothemba, you're a thoughtful speaker. Great. Yes, yes, yes. We're getting lots of yeses. Awesome. Okay, you guys, see how quick it was? It takes like 5 minutes to do the quiz. So make sure you do the quiz. Again, if you're just joining us, you want to go to www.voicesthatlead.net. Figure out what your speaking style is. Come back here. Tell me what your speaking style is because we're evaluating them. And of course, you're going to get a lot of information on it as well. All right. So it looks like I still have you guys. Got lots of, I'm seeing more analytical. Awesome. So we are covering analytical next. And this is also my speaking style. So it's one of my favorites because, of course, it's mine. But let's get into what an analytical speaker is. Now, an analytical speaker is very logical and very, very detailed. That's me. I can talk for hours, you guys, because I try to dissect every problem because I want to make sure that people understand it. Of course, there's good and bad to that. The good is the message gets heard and understood. The bad is we tend to ramble a little bit. Okay. So if an analytical speaker, typically your characteristics would be that you're very clear and structured with your delivery. So you have that beginning, you have that middle, you have that end. Analytical speakers also focus on facts, data, and very detailed information. Okay, so these are the people that I see typically get this speaking style are software engineers. They're in the IT field. They're in finances. They're in accounting. So more in the IT world. That's based off of my studies and how many people have already done the quiz. I see that a lot of software engineers get this type of speaker. It's no wonder, right? Because you guys are working on data. There's a lot of details to information. So this type of person is very calm and they have a very steady voice with minimal emotional variation. So they're a little bit more monotone. I'm monotone, so I have to kind of work on being a little bit less monotone. And that's what you're going to learn from the quiz, what you're doing and what you need to change. But of course, while still maintaining your unique speaking style. They also have a lot of precision in language. Some examples, Steve Jobs. We saw right here when I opened up my results. I'm an analytical speaker. Steve Jobs, I thought was like the perfect example of an analytical speaker. That's why I put him in here. These were some of the strengths. And again, going back to this, the strengths are you are very focused. You're like a natural leader speaking style, but the problem with that is sometimes it's hard for people to connect with you. Okay. So that's why you have to make sure that you humanize it. You add in stories, you add in some personal elements in there, which again is covered in the once you get your results. Okay. So Steve Jobs, known for his clear, structured presentations, his delivery was measured, very purposeful, and he takes complex technological ideas and really kind of dumbs it down for everybody to understand. Okay. Just makes it a lot more clear. And if this is the type of style you feel like you have or you want to adapt, again, it's okay to adapt certain characteristics from other speaking styles. So it's okay to have a mix of two. You want to be clear and logical. That means organize your speech with clear structure. That means having an intro, body, conclusion. Okay, I know most people don't focus on this. Most people typically just focus on body. When I work with my clients, they just go right into the body. You want to focus on the data and facts. So you're going to use your statistics. You're going to have your well-researched information to support your points. And the one thing I love about analytical speakers is that they're very calm. So they have kind of like this demeanor that's like, yeah, no, everything's going to be fine. Even if there's like chaos in the world. Company, there's maybe a crisis going on. They're just sitting there like, it's going to be okay. We're going to figure this out, right? That's the type of speaker that analytical speakers are. All right, we got 2 more to go. I want to make sure you guys are all still here with me and you're still learning. And I want to make sure you do the quiz. You guys, I just launched this quiz open to you guys. I used to only work on this stuff with my one-on-one clients. So you guys are getting this now and you're getting it even better because you're getting a full-blown analysis of what kind of speaker you are. So once you complete the quiz, again, if you go to www.voicesthatlead.net and you do the quiz, you'll get an email from me telling you, hey, this is the type of speaker you are. You're also going to get a free video training and you're going to get a full analysis of your speaking style, the challenges, your potential, the formula, what you need to do in order to make this better so that you can become and sound like the Tony Robbins of the world, the Barack Obamas, the Simon Sineks, the Brene Browns. So that is what this is going to help you with. Okay. So we got 2 more to go. If you guys want me to, if you're learning a lot, if you want me to continue, say yes in the chat box and tell me what you're learning so far. Actually, let's stop here. Let's take a break. I want to know what you guys have learned so far. Have you learned? It could be, hey, I just learned what my speaking style is because I did your quiz. If you did the quiz, say I did your quiz and this is what I learned. Give me in one sentence, tell me what you learned. It could be your speaking style. It could be one of your strengths, one of your weaknesses. Tell me what you have learned. Let me pull it up here. So physicians are analytical as well. Aditya, yes. I have seen a lot of physicians be analytical. I'm seeing yes here from people. Let's see what else. Let me like some of these. Okay, again, If you don't know your speaking style, you want to go to www.voicesthatlead.net. Make sure you learn. Did I spell that right? Of course I spelled it wrong. That's why I love lives, because I make so many mistakes. Let me delete that and rewrite it. It's actually www.voicesthatlead.net. So you do this. Someone's asking, how do you do the quiz? You do the quiz by going to www.voicesthatlead.net. I just dropped it in the chat box. You can type it into your you can type it into your browser. So Gisela, you're asking, where is the link to take the test? Let's not call it a test. I feel like test scares people. It's a quiz, but it's a fun quiz. You're not going to be asked questions that you don't know the answers to. You know the answers. It's www.voicesthatlead.net. So go ahead, take the quiz. We have 2 more to cover, and then we'll wrap it up from there. All right, some of you guys got this one, the thoughtful speaker. These are also some of my favorite speakers. They're very reflective and considerate. Okay, so if you did the quiz, maybe you got the thoughtful speaker. Now, again, you're going to get a lot of information on this. I'm covering just kind of the main points to give you a general idea. So thoughtful speakers are very calm. Thoughtful speakers have a very measured tone. They carefully choose their words and they pause for reflection. So these are the people that you'll ask a question to, and they'll sit there and think for a second and then give you an answer. And I love that. I love that because they take their power back. So these are the people that also have a lot of emphasis and they really understand depth. So they're not going to give you a very surface level answer. So you're probably the type of speaker, you think before you speak, and you think a lot more than normal people, a lot more than other people. I don't mean normal, but a lot more than other people. So these are also people that focus on encouraging others' input rather than dominating the conversation. So maybe this is the type of speaker you are. An example of this is Tim Cook. He's known for his very introspective style, and he often takes a measured approach when discussing Apple strategy or values. So Tim Cook, if you ever analyze his demeanor, it's so calm. He's not rushing to speak. He's not speaking very fast. His body language is not all over the place. It's very calm and very relaxed. Okay. So that is a thoughtful speaker. Now, if you want to be more of this, and if this is your style, these are the things that you want to do. You want to slow down your delivery. This is your natural style. You want to focus on these things more, because slowing down is really going to focus on clarity, and it's going to help you think better so that you can articulate your thoughts a lot better. When it comes to this type of speaking style, you want to encourage dialogues. You want to ask questions that really prompt, reflect, they create a space for others to contribute. And lastly, you want to avoid rushing to fill silences. As a thoughtful speaker, embrace those silences. That's your superpower. Make sure you sit there, let people wonder, what is he thinking? What is she thinking? Let people wonder that. Let people feel uncomfortable in your silence, because again, that's your power. Now, again, you don't want to sit there for a minute and just go quiet and just sit there and think, but you do want to pause, have a nice long 3-second pause, 1, 2, 3, before you continue speaking, okay? Because when you do speak, people will know that you're going to give them an amazing answer, something very insightful, something that probably other people have not thought about, okay? That is your power, all right? All right, one more. So we got one more to go. Larry did the quiz. He says he's an analytical speaker. Awesome, Larry. What else do we have? Do I have Arabic roots? Malik is king. Yasin, I'm actually Pakistani. I know Malik it's very common in the Arab world as well. Last name is Malik. In us, it means like, I forgot what it means, but no, definitely no Arabic roots, 100% Pakistani. So who else has done the quiz? Let's see if there's any other analytical. I'm seeing a lot of analytical. Dina is also analytical. Great job. See, you guys, it's taking like a few seconds. I'm so happy you guys are getting this done with me so we can talk about it together. Let's see. Okay, now let's move on to the last speaking style. By the way, like I said, there's a lot more, but these are the most common ones, and these are the ones I want you guys to focus on. So if you've done the quiz at www.voicesthatlead.net, you would have known what your speaking style is. The last one we're going to cover, we talked about, again, the charismatic speaker, the Barack Obamas. We've talked about the conversational speaker, which is the Oprah Winfrey's, Brene Brown, Bill Gates. We've talked about the analytical speaker, which is Steve Jobs, Neil deGrasse Tyson. If you guys also do let me know, by the way, comment who your favorite speaker is and tell me why. For example, Simon Sinek. Most people love that he has that authority, but at the same time, he's so approachable, right? That's a very unique thing that he does, but maybe that's your style. We also talked about, or that's someone you like. We talked about the thoughtful speaker, and now we're going to get into the last, which is the authoritative speaker. So before I do that, let me know, does the quiz apply to extroverts? These are more for introverts, just the way that the questions are focused, and these are usually the type of speaking styles that introverts have. So unfortunately, these are more for introverts because my content is all for introverts. I'm an introvert. I get you guys, and all my clients are introverts, 99% of them. That's why I focus on introverts. So these speaking styles, you're going to get most likely if you're an introvert. I'll give you guys, actually, you know what would be fun to do? Know some speaking styles of extroverts. I'll give you one. A speaking style for an extrovert is the dramatic speaker. So think like a salesperson. Think like a CEO who is overly loud, like maybe like a new company, a startup. They're the ones that are out there talking to everybody. That's the dramatic speaker. Dramatic speakers use lots of body language. Their hands will be like up here all over the place. So they are that's a type of extroverted speaker, but we're focusing on introverts here. So let's get into that. Eric Thomas, I love his energy. Philly is saying, who else? Malik means owner. Yes, Dina. I think in Urdu, Malik means owner. I think I remember that my mom telling me once that that's what it means. I think it was like the owner of lands or something like that back in the day. All right, let's get into the last speaking style. I'm happy to see there's still so many of you guys here. That makes me happy. It tells me you guys are learning, you guys are absorbing this information. Janae is asking, what is your Myers-Briggs personality test, INFJ? That's mine. Mine's INF. I think it's INFJ as well. All right, you guys, let's continue. Okay, because we've already gone way over, but I feel like I'm just really excited today because the quiz launched and so many of you guys have completed it. And I love that you guys are coming back and telling me what your speaking style is. Do send me a DM once we're off of this, so you can tell me what you've learned and let me know how you liked it. Okay. The last speaking style, the authoritative speaker. Okay, so some of you guys got the authoritative speaker, and let's talk about what this speaker is. This speaker is confident. They're very knowledgeable, and they have a very strong posture to them. They almost sit there or stand there with, sometimes they'll have their chin up, sometimes they'll be eye level, but you can see and feel the authority just by looking at them. They don't even have to say anything, and oh, this person's probably like a leader in his or her field. So if you got the authoritative speaker, chances are that you are calm and composed with your tone. You focus on very clear and concise delivery. You have very strong posture and very minimal gestures. So minimal gestures means like you're not using your hands a lot. They're not up there, which, by the way, you should be using your hands a little bit, but you do not over exaggerate them. So focus on your body language if you're an authoritative speaker, because your body does a lot of the speaking for you. Okay. Authoritative speakers do not have any unnecessary filler words. Maybe you are somebody that's an authoritative speaker and you use ums and uhs, but that means you really have to get rid of them if you want to make and amplify the speaking style more. Okay. Let me give you some examples of an authoritative speaker. Meryl Streep. If you've ever heard Meryl Streep speak off of stage, she exudes so much confidence, and everything that she does is so controlled, from her facial movements to her body language to the words that she uses to her tone. Everything is deliberate and thoughtful. Okay, so that is the authoritative type of speaker. And then we also have Malala Yousafzai. I love the way that she speaks because her speech carries that authoritative tone to it. And when you look at her speak, you're like, she knows exactly what she's talking about. And that's the superpower of authoritative speaker. They have this way of convincing you that they know what they're saying, okay, and that you should believe them. So that's really kind of the strong suit here. If you are trying to adapt the speaking style, or you got the speaking style, you want to make it better, make sure you work on your clarity. Make sure you're always speaking nice and slow and with purpose. Authoritative speakers do not speak a lot, but when they speak, it's all very deliberate and purposeful. Okay. So they only speak when it's necessary, but when they speak, everyone turns their head and looks at them because they're like, oh, this person's going to say something very important, so I better listen up. Okay. So make sure your words are very well chosen. This type of speaker also develops what did I do here? So this type of speaker also uses very good posture, okay, and maintains a steady, firm voice. So as an authoritative speaker, your voice will be a little bit higher. Okay, so you're going to have a nice, strong volume, but it's not going to be like a high pitch. It's going to be nice and strong, but a very low pitch. So the difference between high volume and low pitch, by the way, when you're speaking with high volume, you speak through your throat. You will feel it in your chest will expand. And then when you speak with a different pitch, you'll feel it in your neck muscles. Okay. So you want to make sure you have that high voice, but your pitch is low. I hope that makes sense. Okay. Lastly, when it comes to this type of speaker, you want to control your pace. Okay. So authoritative speakers, they don't sit there, hey, what's up? What are you doing? Or how's this going? No, they're the type that are going to say, hey, can you please send me the report over ASAP? Or not even ASAP. They'll say, can you send me the report over by the end of the day? Thank you. Right? They command that attention through their demeanor, their posture, their tone. That's what they really focus on. Okay. So that is the last speaking style that we focus on. Now, I do want to tell you guys something. Okay. If you're focusing on a style that does not fit, no wonder speaking feels hard. So if you're somebody that feels like, why is speaking so hard? Why do I hate public speaking? Why do I not like getting up and speaking during those meetings and interrupting? Why am I always the quiet one? Why do I never get noticed? It's because you're probably using the wrong speaking style. So the whole point of this masterclass, I feel like at this point it's a masterclass, is that you need to know your speaking style if you want to get better. And I've made it so easy for you today by giving you guys this quiz. And you guys, this has been in the works for months and months and months. Okay, it's been so long. I started back in October, so I finally finished it. I just launched it this weekend, so you guys will be some of the first people to do this and get this information. Find out what your speaking voice is. Find out what your speaking style is. Okay, and you can do that by going to www.voicesthatlead.net. It's a quiz. It's not going to take you more than 5 minutes to do. As I was doing this, so many people have already done it, and so many people have already told me what their speaking styles are. Find out what your speaking style is, because it's going to make your life easier in the corporate world, when you're giving presentations, when you're in that meeting, when you're sitting there and you're like, oh my gosh, what do I say? How do I say it? And not another meeting where someone else is dominating the conversation and I'm just there. Your natural speaking style is going to encourage you and it's going to help you speak more. Okay. So let me go back here. Where are we? Let me unshare my screen because I feel like I need to give you guys a pep talk here. Okay. So as I was saying, if you are not happy with your public speaking, it just means you don't know what type of speaker you are. If you are not happy or you don't feel comfortable or you get anxiety when you're up there in front of your audience, find out what your speaking style is, because that's going to make it easier for you. Your life is going to be easier. You're not going to be worried about how do I sound. You will know exactly what you're doing. And that's the point of this quiz, to teach you everything about your speaking style. It's going to tell you the challenges that you face. It's going to tell you the things that you need to get better at. It's going to tell you how people view you as a speaker, because unfortunately in the corporate world, if you want to get promoted, if you want to get that raise, if you want to move up the corporate ladder, if you want to get that job you want, this is very helpful also if you're going to be doing interviews or if you want to move up the corporate ladder. This is going to show you and tell you exactly how you are perceived by other people. Okay. And you should know that. I think it's so important to know that, because unfortunately in the corporate world, how you're perceived by people is what gets you ahead. It's not how hard you work. Unfortunately, I hate to be the one to tell you this. It's not how hard you work, but it's how you show up. It's what you say. It's how people view you. If you act and sound like a leader, you will become the leader that I know you're capable of becoming. Okay. So start with doing the quiz. Okay. Start with doing the quiz, www.voicesthatlead.com. If you can't find it or you're having trouble getting to it, send me a message or go to my profile. There's a link right there. I want you guys to do the quiz. Do it for yourself. Do it so you know exactly what type of speaking style you have so that you're no longer afraid of public speaking. So you don't get that anxiety anymore because now you'll know what you are doing. Okay. I want to thank you guys so much for being here. I hope you found this helpful. If you found this helpful, say yes in the chat box and let me know what you've learned. I'd love to stay here just like a minute or two and kind of talk to you guys. I'm always trying to make these valuable for you. I don't want you guys to like leave here without feeling like, wow, I learned a lot today from Maria. So that's kind of what I'm hoping you guys are taking away from today. And of course, doing the quiz is going to give you so much information on your speaking style. So if you've learned something today, say yes in the chat box. I do want to say thank you. We've had so many people here today, and I'm so happy that I reached this many people because I know this is going to help my fellow introverts. Okay, if you don't know, that's what I do. I love helping introverts find their voice and becoming the leaders that they're meant to be. Okay, so thank you so much, Irfan, Juan. Thank you for everyone that participated. Dan, thank you so much for commenting and participating. Mega, Harshit, Yasin, Dina, Zulfikar, Atia, thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys. And thank you so much for making this such an amazing community for me. To be honest, like you guys know, if you know anything about my journey, I tried to go on Instagram, I was on YouTube, and it was brutal out there. It was brutal. So LinkedIn here has been amazing. I just want to thank you guys. I feel like I don't say that enough. Thank you so much for supporting me. Thank you so much for all of you guys being here and helping me. And my promise to you is to always bring you value. And my promise to you is to always give you as much information as I can, as much as I can do for you, I'm willing to do. Okay. And do take the quiz. Lastly, I know I sound like a broken record, but you will learn a lot about yourself. Okay. So thank you so much for being here today. And if there's one thing you've taken away today is what your speaking style is. Okay. I'll see you guys soon. Have a great Wednesday, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.